Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Let's give everyone a big wave. If you're watching on the recording, welcome. First of all, if you're watching on the recording in the serving circle, let me know, because I don't know who watches these things. So please let me know if you're watching the recording. This is going to be an awesome chat. We've got Jeff here. Jeff, give us a wave. This is Jeff. He shot me a message, and his main thing was, hey, I want to be of service. I want to be of value to the group and get to know some members as well. And obviously the topic is something I'm really passionate about. And that's around your communication, right? That's around your messaging. It's around making sure that your communication within your business is effective and efficient. Because as Jeff will tell you, and as many of you have already found out, if your communication is not clear and compelling, it doesn't matter what you do. Correct? A lot of the time, our mind can get stuck in strategy. What's the next strategy? What's working? What Facebook funnel? What social media thing? What launch can I do? Our mind can get overdeveloped in the strategy of just, what do I need to do next? What's working? How do I get more reach? How do I do this? It doesn't matter how many people you get in front of if your message isn't clear and compelling, right? Everything in business is communication, as Barbara will tell you, right? Everything in business is because of communication. Anytime you've ever bought something, it's because of something you read or something you heard that made you want to buy it. So as business owners, we need to be always doubling down on our communication, right? Show of hands, who knows this already? Anyone know this already? Cool. How many people have in their calendar some time where they actually improve? They actually, improve on their messaging, improve on their communication. And if not, you're in the right place. Jeff has been in marketing for how long, Jeff? 15 years? 15 years been in marketing. And he's been there, done that, seen it all, what works, what doesn't work. He's done his own testing and tweaking and realizes that, hey, for people to be effective, you need to know your clients. And many of you already know this. You need to know your clients, and you need to know what influences them. You need to know who they are, what they want to achieve, where they want to go, but also the problem that they're facing. And sometimes we can get into our own head and describe the problem in lofty terms, in things that are, nebulous, because that's the way we would describe it with our intellect of being coaches, healers, consultants. But really, it's not the effective way to describe the problem. That's what Jeff is going to help us with, help you guys have a bit more of a process on how to not only find that profitable problem for your ideal clients, but how to transform that, how to use that information for your marketing, so you have something tangible to use it from. So Jeff, what do you have to add there? I'd love for you to say hi to the group, share all about you and why you're awesome. And I'm happy for you to lead the way, my friend.
Okay, sweet. And can you enable screen sharing? And I got some slides to go along with things.
I can.
But everything everything that you just kind of went through is exactly spot on. And the issue is, it's like, we go through these exercises. These aren't like anything new, right? Everybody's like heard of, like, you got to develop your avatar and all of this kind of stuff. But like you like really hit it on the head. It's just like, sometimes we're too close to it and we want it to feel the way we feel about it when people hear it. But then we miss the mark when we're trying to like describe it in all these lofty terms, and we just actually need to land the plane so they get what we're saying and it connects with what they're actually dealing with. And so in the training today, that's like what my aim is, to help you guys figure out, because this community is super awesome. I'm kind of like, the calls are a lot of times are at like bedtime and dinner time for like my little kids and stuff. So I don't always get to attend, but I always see like really good conversations going on in the group. And so when I reached out to Tyson, it was just like, this is a perfect group for this because like everybody here wants to make an impact. And if we're not able to communicate what we do so people actually want it, we don't get to make the impact that we set out to make with our businesses. So this process I'm going to take you through, I like Tyson said, I've been in marketing like pretty like at some pretty high level companies and everything for like 15 years. And it wasn't until maybe 3 months ago where this just like it was actually like a download I got while I was meditating and never had anything happen like that where it was like my voice talking to me in my head. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it was like boom, I actually heard a noise and then it was like the statement and then it was all around like it's not the funnel, it's not the ads, it's not like AI, it's the way they're talking about their offer. So essentially it's their pitch. And it's just developed into this thing. And I've taken a lot of people through the process I'm going to take you guys through today. And every time I even did it for myself because like I was having the same problem and it was like, why is this stuff not working? I'm doing everything correct. We started this process. I went through it as well. And it's just like insane how much clarity you can get because it's not so much the questions, which we'll get to in a little bit, are not going to be like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. But we're going to use it in a little bit of a different way. And so I'm hoping to give you guys all clarity so you can walk away from this call with some kind of clear path on how to talk about what you do in a way that people are like, wow, I really want that, or at least I want to know more. Because we don't want that like, that vibe that you get sometimes when people are like, I don't know, that sounds kind of cool, I guess. You want them to be like, oh my gosh, I have to know more, or like, how do I give you money and that kind of stuff. And it all starts with nailing what we're going to go through. So I'm going to hop over to the slides and we'll kind of get started since, yes, the irresistible offer, Don, that's right. And so while I'm pulling that up, the one caveat I want to just kind of put out there is I'm kind of focusing everything on the pitch because a lot of times most of our actual, sorry, I just got to move this out of the way so I can see you guys. Most of our offers and stuff are pretty good. That's at least in my experience. Like we all have decent offers, but the reason people aren't connecting with them is because how we talk about them, it doesn't create the demand that gets them to be like, wow, I want that. So what I'm talking about specifically can help you fix your offer without having to do anything other than just change the way you talk about it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If like want to kind of like get out of this spot where people if you've ever said something along the lines of like people really get it what I do once they experience it or they go through my program or I work with them, but they just don't seem to understand it before that. That's what we're going to be working on fixing. Or if you consistently get lukewarm responses or people maybe just saying like, maybe later, or that could be cool down the line. That's what we're going to be working on fixing tonight. Let's see here. There we go. What we're going to be covering is kind of one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in spending the last 15 years marketing with, some pretty big companies generating multiple hundreds of thousands of email leads and millions in sales for some of the companies you're seeing here. And also with some personalities, like you don't even need to know who any of these people are. All this to say is these are all like very well known, like in the marketing space. And like through either the companies I've worked for or as clients, I've gotten to work with them to see what they're doing behind the scenes and how they're able to cultivate this like big following and how they monetize that. And I'm not telling you this to brag. It's just that like I've been there and I've seen it. And this is kind of like the culmination of all of that work. It finally like just hit and it was like, this is why these people are able to become these influencers and have these super successful businesses with consistent sales. It's because they figured out this pitch on how to connect what they do to what their audience actually wants. Okay. So today, this training is going to be for you if you're, and I know most of y'all here are coaches or offering some kind of service. So if you're doing that online or in person, either one is fine. But if you have the situation where you can get clients great results, or if customers get really good results from your program, but it's just a struggle to get more people in the door. That's what we're going to be covering today. This is the foundation for all of it. If you've done these avatar exercises in the past and then moved on to other parts of your business and then went on and created a marketing funnel and it didn't really work to generate the leads and sales like, it should have based on whatever, method or video or whatever you were following, this training is definitely going to be for you. And if you've tried, well, hey, my funnel wasn't working, so maybe I should try like a low ticket offer or high ticket offer or a webinar funnel or any sort of like all of these tactics. You've tried them and then none of them really worked as well. I'm going to show you how to fix it so any of them will work. That's the key thing is all of those methods work. You just have to have the right foundations to go into them so that they do work, okay? And like I mentioned, this all came about because like I was trying to build something out in my business and it was just like, man, this is just like pushing a boulder uphill and something is off, something is off. Even though like I've been doing this for so long, I was so wrapped up in my business, I just couldn't see. And so I took a break and it was just like, I don't know, man. And then it dawned on me, when I had that download and then started looking back at myself and all of my clients for the past like 3 to 4 years, I started seeing, it wasn't the funnel that was the issue. It was all of the things that were going into the funnel and the offer that were off because I made a few key mistakes, as did most of my clients and that kind of stuff. And then looking at the clients and the businesses I was working with, I was like, oh, well, no wonder. Yeah, they had this piece figured out, and then it made everything else work, and they had this, and they had this. And so I want to cover a few of the mistakes just so we're aware, because awareness is key to being able to, change your course and all of that kind of stuff. So one of the big things is we aren't always the most clear on who our audience is and their specific problems they're facing right now. And again, like I'm mentioning, you've probably heard this stuff before. So please bear with me. There's a reason I'm bringing all of this up. I'm not trying to just sell you the same old, goods or whatever. There's a reason why these are common practices, but we're getting them wrong. Like I said, I was getting it wrong too. And since fixing this, it's just been insane how quick of a transformation that me and anyone I've taken through this process have made. Another one, all of our content, all of our offers, all of our pitches, everything is just super high level and way too generalized. And we're saying stuff like, well, they're stressed out, they're overwhelmed, that kind of stuff. And we're not getting into the specifics that these people are experiencing every day. And then your pitch is created from that plus the end goal of what you think your audience wants, instead of actually kind of like marrying where your audience is and the problems they're facing with your solution, and then you kind of bridge that gap. Then there's another mistake of we tweak all of the things like, hey, my funnel is supposed to be generating X amount, or my marketing or whatever, however you want to describe your marketing, it's supposed to be doing all of these things, but something isn't working. So then we go back and we tweak. Maybe it's the landing page, maybe it's my emails, maybe it's my social media content, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And then we do all this stuff because we're looking on YouTube, we're looking in our groups, all of our groups that we're in, maybe even the serving circle and stuff. We're looking for help, and then we find a little nugget and then we go implement, and then we just kind of stay on this process of continuing to tweak. And then it gets really, really frustrating. And it can get to the point of like, well, why am I even trying to do this business? Like, you're here to help, but it gets so kind of like exhausting, and it can feel depressing, especially when you're like, a solopreneur, or maybe you have a small team, but you don't have people that like fully get what you're going through. It can be really just sort of like a process where it's like, oh man, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And like, I don't want that to happen to anybody. So what we need to do is, if you're doing any of those things, let's stop for a second. Thought this picture was funny, so I had to add that in. So what we're going to do is stop those things, because as I mentioned, if you are doing any of those things, awareness is key. We just need to be aware of what we're doing, and knowing what we're doing that might be causing our problems is just as valuable as knowing what to do instead. Okay, so what we're going to do instead is we need to meet our audience where they are, and then we need to use the specifics of their current situation to create demand for your solution. So if we look at somebody like Brene Brown, I think most people here know who she is, right? Can only see a few people, so I'm hoping, yeah, everybody, cool. Okay, so Brene Brown, she knows who her audience is and she knows what problem to help them with. So they have problems around, having enough courage to do things in relationships, at jobs, all that kind of stuff. They don't feel safe in vulnerability and like being able to embrace that vulnerability. Maybe they have shame around various things they've done in their lives and they need to deal with it. So she knows the problems that like she helps them with, and then she creates content, books, all of that kind of stuff to help with that. That's one person that has just like obviously really dialed this stuff in and knows her audience and knows what problems they have. Similarly, Tony Robbins, everybody knows Tony, right? Everybody like, oh man, Tony Robbins. And it's wild. He is probably like the most well-known coach ever. So he knows his audience, people like that are looking to improve some kind of part of their life. And he has multiple different programs for those various things. But the general thing is they want to like they're having trouble in their current existence and they're looking to move to the next level, but they don't know what to do. So he creates programs for that. And so like if these two successful people are doing that, even if you don't want to be at their level, like obviously they're both huge, but if you want to have consistent, similar results, modeling the results and modeling the things that people are doing that have the results you want is one of the fastest ways to get there. So it makes sense that we would model those. And one thing that we need to understand about our audience is they're at a point A, whatever that is for them, or whoever your ideal client is. They're at point A and they are looking at this point B of like, this is where I want to get to. And so they look at it and they're like, cool, I'm going to have to go on this journey from point A to point B. They get all jazzed up and they're like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm fully committed. I'm going to go change my life or whatever, right? And so they get started and then boom, they run into a brick wall and all progress stops because they're like, crap, that YouTube video I watched didn't account for this and it didn't tell me what to do here. So now what do I do? And this is where we actually need to meet our audience with our content, with our pitch, with our sales pages, with anything. Even if you're just talking to somebody, like how you talk about it, that's where you need to meet them. But what most people do when they have inconsistent sales and revenue and that kind of stuff, where people just don't seem to get their offers, a lot of times they're talking from this point B of like, I've already figured this out. And I have been told that I should like talk about, the solution and the benefits and all that kind of stuff. But then they negate this point B. They don't even address it. And then it's like, well, I mean, that's pretty cool, I guess, but I don't know if that's going to solve my exact brick wall problem I'm having. And instead, what we need to do is we need to show them with our content, with our pitches, with everything, a way around this wall, either over, under, or through, so they can continue down this journey. Okay. So when we're making a pitch or we're trying to figure stuff out, we need to make sure that we address their brick wall problem with our pitch so that they don't have to wonder, is this even going to help with this thing that I'm actively looking to try and solve right now? So essentially, this is like when, let's say somebody was dying of thirst and they're like, oh, I need water or I'm out. What most businesses do that are in this situation, they focus all on, here, I got a gold cup that's got diamonds, rubies, everything, and it's like, I'll give it to you for $100. The person who's dying of thirst, they don't care about the cup or the vessel. What they want is hey, you know what? Here's what most successful businesses do. I'll show you how to find water anywhere in the world, no matter like what your situation is, and I'll also throw in a rusty old can for you to drink it out of. Do you want this offer? If they're dying of thirst, they're going to be like, well, yeah, I want to know how to find water. That's because it's addressing their exact problem that they're currently dealing with, right? And there might be more to it than, hey, you just dig a hole in the ground. Maybe you have to know how to look for it, but like they don't care about that stuff because that's so much further down the line than where they currently are. But once they're in the door, you can then show them, well, it's not just digging a hole in the ground. You actually have to know how to like dig the hole so it doesn't collapse and get the water all muddy. I don't know. I'm just making that stuff up to highlight the point. But most businesses who struggle with generating sales and clients and that kind of stuff, they're focused on the wrong thing. And we need to focus here at the brick wall problem, because this is akin to me saying, like coming in and saying, hey, everybody, I have a pretty awesome airplane that just rolled off the assembly line. It's state of the art. Everybody gets their own cabin on board. You can lay down, you can sleep, everything. Do you want to go on a trip? Do you want to fly somewhere? In the chat, anybody want to put in what's your first question that comes up if I were to say like, hey, do you want to fly somewhere? Just curious, because how, yeah, could possibly be it. Yeah, Tyson, exactly. Dana, yep. Where are we going? Like a lot of times it's like people don't really focus in on the destination and talking about that with their offers. On the flip side, the businesses with consistent revenue, what they do is they know their audience's destination, similar to that point B, but more importantly, that brick wall problem. Like they know where that brick wall problem leads to, but they meet them where they are. So let's say you just knew like your audience's destination was like, I really want to go to Hawaii, and my friends are all going to be there tonight at around 8 o'clock. And so like my destination is Hawaii by 8 o'clock. Now, if you came in and you were like, cool, I know that you want to be to Hawaii by 8 o'clock tonight so you can hang out with your friends, have some Mai Tais on the beach. That sounds lovely. And I can guarantee I can get you there by 8 o'clock tonight. My airplane is a little older, but it's guaranteed. It's checked out by the FAA every 2 weeks. It's guaranteed to get you there by 8 p.m. And it's just not quite as fancy as everything else. But the costs are effective. And like I said, it's guaranteed and it's safe to get you there. Do you want to go? If people were wanting to go to Hawaii and be there by 8 p.m. tonight, they would be like, well, yeah, that sounds awesome. Perfect. And then there might be a few questions of like, well, how long is it going to take? How much does it cost? All of the stuff where it's like, now it's not like, well, can this help me? It's now, well, okay, what are the details? So it's a different perspective, right? It's not like, oh boy, I don't know if this can help. Like, where are we going? Like, I don't know if it's going to take me where I want to go. Now it becomes, well, it's definitely going to take me where I want to go. Do I want to fly on this plane? Do I want to, do it right now, or do I need to wait? But like it's removing it and making it more of a yes or no instead of like instead of a like, geez, I don't know, like if this is even going to help, right? Okay, so moving on to the actual questions. These are going to help you uncover the foundations that you need to create demand for your offer. And you can literally do all of this on the training today and have a full pitch for your offer and everything by the time we're done. I just have to close this out real quick just to move the chat out of the window. Okay, so is everybody kind of following at this point? Like what? Perfect. Okay, just want to make sure everybody's with me. So it's a lot about understanding where your current audience is and what they're actively looking for solutions to. Okay, that's what we're going to uncover in these questions. And you may have heard these questions before, and I want to preface it that these are not like groundbreaking and like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. But what most people do and why they haven't been working is they don't go deep enough and they stay surface level and super generic. And then that's why the marketing and stuff doesn't work. So just as I mentioned, give me a little bit of like, I just like encourage you to look at it with an open mind, even if you have done this before, because there's going to be a twist on it that will help you really dial this in a way that you haven't before. Because here's the thing. If you had this dialed in already, we probably wouldn't be on this call together. So give me the next few minutes and I'm going to take you through this exercise so that you can get clear on these and have the answers that you can actually build marketing that generates consistent clients and consistent revenue for your business. Okay. All right. Cool. So question one, who is this for? Now, I'd encourage everybody to have like a notepad out. I'm going to go through a few things and then I'm going to give you a couple minutes to like write this down. So like just hang with me for a second and then I'll tell you when to like kind of go to your homework. So I just want to give you a little bit of context on this question before you actually do the writing and that kind of stuff. Okay, so with this question, like I've taken so many people through this. This is all like every one of them is this is where we start. I even like thought I was being specific enough and then reviewing my recording when I had a friend take me through my own process, I did the same thing. So the one thing I want to say is nobody here is like unique in the fact that this is a struggle. Like I said, I struggled with it and this is like my own process I developed, which I thought was like really interesting. And the main reason is because we're so close to our own businesses, it's hard to see things like this. And so having an outside perspective to kind of, look at this really helps dial this stuff in. Okay. So what most business owners do, they say things like, well, I can help everyone, or I can help, like I really don't want to like limit things because I can like literally help everyone. I actually do have a client where he's like, this literally works for everybody. And it was like, oh boy. And then seeing it, it's like it does actually help everyone. But one thing that we had to do was like, okay, well, how do you want to help them? Because it can help different people in different ways. And he just had to pick one. So what most business owners do, like I mentioned, it's super general. And the problem with that is if you're not specific enough with the type of person, it can be hard to identify who they really are and then what those specific issues that they're having. Like we need to have specifics so we A, know where to find them, and B, know what they're dealing with. Because if we're just speaking to general people, it's going to be hard to get that specificity we need to get people to pay attention to us. And usually what I have to mention for my clients and stuff when we're working through this process is think of your best client or somebody who you just look forward to getting on calls with. And if you could have a roster full of those people, who would that be? Who would you love to work with? Now, here's the next thing. You get to decide who you want to work with. This is a really powerful thing and empowering stance that you have as the business owner. You get to decide who the person is. You don't have to just take whoever shows up. You don't have to just accept whoever finds your content and that kind of stuff. You get to decide this by A, determining A, who you'd like to work with, and B, how you talk about that stuff in your content based on who you want to work with. That's how you decide. And if you're not getting the people that you're wanting to work with, that get your stuff, that show up, pay on time, do the work, you might want to look at what you're talking about in your content and make sure that resonates with the people that you're trying to attract. Okay. So here's an example. Here's actually two examples. How we kind of need to take this and expand it out a little bit. So example one, business owner. Or example two, stay-at-home moms. Okay, both are like decently specific, but within each of those, it could be so much more specific because there's so many kinds of business owners. There's so many kinds of stay-at-home moms. So just as an example, like it doesn't need to even be this kind of like thought out, but this is just an example. So e-commerce business owner who's plateaued at 5K per month, they have a great product that people love. They're just struggling with acquisition and boosting their average order value. So now because I know that, I could go into e-commerce groups. I could look at e-commerce people online and see who's following them. Like see how it gives us a little bit of input around that person to know A, where to find them, and then B, what to talk about. Same with stay-at-home moms. Like stay-at-home mom with more than two kids, she homeschools them and tries to get them to eat organic food, tries to keep them emotionally and physically engaged every day and just feels exhausted. Lots of stuff we could talk about there and pull into our content. And also lots of places to look for that. So we could look in homeschooling groups. We could look in organic food groups. We can look in all of these kind of spots, but we need to start with who it's for. Okay. So with that context, go ahead and write down your answers on, whether it's Google Docs or in a notebook or whatever. And then I'm going to give you like maybe 2 minutes so we can get through everything because we do have a hard stop. And then we'll move on to the next one. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box for sure. Okay. And if anybody has one and wants to unmute and just share it real quick, that would be cool. Or if you need like maybe one more minute. And you can always come back to this and fill this out. So like you don't need to have it completely done here on the call, but just get as close as you can. I heard somebody.
I do.
Okay, go for it.
So you're asking me who my audience is, right?
Yeah, so answer the question, who is this for?
Okay. My business is for 45-year-old plus females who have concerns about themselves or relatives acquiring dementia.
Okay. So they're like caretakers. Like not
Caretakers,
nurses. No, they're not nurses, but they're like the family caretaker kind of.
not necessarily. They might have parents that have acquired dementia or friends or relatives. They're concerned. I don't want to get dementia because they have dementia, or I don't want to even think about it. So it doesn't have
So
to be as
see how that's like even a little unclear? Like I don't actually know who somebody like concerned about dementia would be. So can you read it one more time for me?
sure. 45-plus-year-old females who have concerns about relatives or themselves acquiring dementia.
Why would they have concerns?
Their parents have it. Their friends
Okay.
have it. The children have it. They've been told that you're going to get dementia.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I would focus on. It's like 45-year-old plus women who have been told either by a doctor or it runs in their family, where at least it like hones it in a little bit, and it's not quite so like ethereal or like I don't even know what that means, but you hear it and you're like, yeah, totally know what that means. So that's what I would just keep working on a little bit is just like, how can I make this as simple and like easy to understand as possible? But I think you're on the right path, so just keep working it a little bit, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, we'll do one more and then we'll keep moving. Whoever just wants to go ahead and unmute and you can take this one.
I think David had his hand raised first.
Okay,
thank you, Barbara. I'll go for it. So I've written here, women in financial services who want to embrace their true selves and excel with confidence.
Okay, women in financial services, super clear. The rest of it, it's like, what does that really mean? You know, like that could mean several different things to several different people. We're going to get to how to like dial that part of this in. We just need to know who these people are specifically. So women in financial services, do they have any other indicators? Are they mothers? Are they like CEOs? You know, like any other indicators about who these people are? We don't necessarily need to know like the problem yet. We just need to know who they are. Okay.
I can work on that. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. And then so I've got a couple other here, biz women over 40 who are held back by self-doubt, self-sabotage. So again, like it's more who they are, like not so much the problem and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna get there, absolutely. But we just need to know like more about who these people are. So the biz women over 40. Again, I would ask, let's see, this is Allison. So are they like, you know, like management? Are they in a certain type of business? Are they business owners? What kind of business? Do they have team? Like anything that's just an identifier. That's what we want to have here. And again, there is no right or wrong. Just do your best. That's the one other thing I forgot to mention. And then Dana says, soul-inspired, mission-driven women ready to unearth their higher purpose and live their legacy. Okay, so Dana, this is a little like, I don't quite actually know who that person is. So who is a soul-inspired, mission-driven women? And aspiring, emerging, heart-centered leaders. Not like leader, what does a leader mean? Is that like they're a manager, they're a business owner? We need to get more clear there just so we know how, like what we need to focus in on problem-wise, so to speak. Cool. And Barbara, heart-centered entrepreneurs who want to fast forward their selling skills. So like, yeah, it's pretty clear. So heart-centered entrepreneur who's like trying to sell more. Yeah. So it can be simple. It doesn't need to be like a paragraph like I wrote. We just need to know, like Barbara, I would say like, I'd probably want to know, are you focusing at all on like females, males, both probably is what my guess would be. What kinds of businesses, anything, like, are they kind of like more, self-improvement focused, that kind of stuff. Both professional career and entrepreneurs ready to live their higher mission. Yeah. So again, think back to your ideal customers, Dana, like somebody who you've loved to work with, and what are their characteristics? And the other thing on all of this, everybody, I want you to hear is if you do this one time, this is not set in stone. You can do this again in 2 days, in 6 months, in 2 years. If you get down the road and you find like, still not working, or I don't know, it's like not exactly, hitting how I want it to, you can always redo this. So it's not like if you get one and done. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, get messy, go messy quick or something like that, right? Where it's like you want to go as quickly and messy as possible and get it done versus overthinking. Okay. And then Anne says, it's me, my ideal client is going through what I did. So list out characteristics of yourself. Who are you? Like what profession are you in? What background do you have? That kind of stuff. Cool. First generational women focused on personal development. Yeah, cool. First generational women, sorry, where did it go? First generational women focused on breaking intergenerational patterns and like I think summarizing that into focused on intergenerational patterns, like pretty clear and simple, because then that tells you where to go look for these people. Okay, cool. So I think
hey Jeff, before you move on,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I got a message here from David who makes a good point. If we want to go deeper, do you want to do a second call? Do you want to do this as like a part 1, and then we can also do a part 2 if we can?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, so we can get through all 4 questions with a little bit more depth.
Yep.
Do you think that'll be okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Because we could either I could check with you about next week or the week after. We could do a second call, so that we can get a little bit more in depth. People can ask their questions and get a little bit more help. Hey.
Yeah. So let's for the part 2, let's do what we do with these answers and put that into a pitch, so that we can spend a little time on the answers today, and then on the next call, here's how you like make it into a pitch, if that sounds good for everybody.
Well, first of all, show of hands. Do you think, guys, that will be okay for you? Think that'll be helpful? All right, awesome. So we'll do the 4 questions now, and then we can go more into detail around how to use it for your marketing, for your pitch, and how to communicate it.
Cool. Cool.
Awesome. Sounds good, Jeff. Continue.
All right, sweet. All right. Okay. So at this point, who is this for specifically? That's a question we want to answer. So we just know who we're talking to. Okay. We don't need to know like all the problems and everything. We'll get there, but we just need to be able to like answer that question, like bottom line it for me. Who is this person? Okay. So the next question, what do those people say they want? Not what you think they want or what you've summarized they want, but what do they say they want? So what most business owners that are struggling here do is they summarize the things they've heard their audience say without using their exact words, or because they've probably been that person at some point, they make up what their audience wants based on their experience. And the problem with that is like your answers may or may not resonate with your ideal audience based on how you say things, which if it doesn't resonate, then it's not going to build demand that we need to get people in the door and following us and that kind of stuff. So what's like, to give you an example of this, like a business owner says, like, I want my life to be less stressed. I want to, they want to live their purpose and they want to like ignite their life. Well, that sounds like really cool. People are like, I don't know what that means. What they're really saying is, I hate my job. The routine that I have sucks. I seem to be stuck here, and every day is the same, and I'm going crazy, and I need to get out of here. That's what they're saying. And so we need to literally use their words. We have to like literally use their words, and we find those words by talking to people. If you don't have those words, maybe from old sales calls, maybe from conversations with past clients, all of that kind of stuff, look at all of that content to find out what they were saying their problems were and what they were saying they wanted your help with. So you can literally use those elsewhere, because what you'll start to see as you start looking into this is you'll start to see patterns of things people keep saying. And it might be slightly different, but it's essentially the same thing, to the point where you'll be able to almost like predict the things that people are wanting, because you'll start seeing those patterns. Okay. So what do your people say they want? Go ahead and spend a couple minutes and write down your answers to the best of your ability. And again, it's not what you think they want, it's what they're saying they want. I know we have a hard stop in about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna take one just so I can add some context. So if anybody has what their people are saying they want, go ahead and share that with us.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, go for it.
Continuing on, they want to live out their lives dementia-free and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. So would they be saying, like, if they were like, let's say they're sitting at their computer and they have alone time and they're like, man, I just want to be like dementia free and not have to worry about it? Or would they be saying like, I just want to know that I'm free and clear and that like I don't have to worry about this for the rest of my life?
Yeah, because their parents have dementia and they're going, oh my God, I don't want to get dementia.
So there you go. That's what they want. Like, I don't want to get dementia. So see how it's like, it's basically the same thing, but you do want to like have it down in their words. Like, they want to be dementia free. They don't want to worry about this on a constant basis because their parents had it. They, you see what I'm saying? Like, I just like want it more in their words. Like, your first answer was pretty good. It felt more like a coach answer versus like what they're actually thinking when they're like sitting down at their computer or relaxing at the end of the day and this thing's running in the back of their head. It's usually way more simple in like kind of base level than what we say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. I
can put headphones on, so it's not.
He said, I need help mentally and emotionally, but I don't feel like I need professional help. I just need some tools and guidance. Want less stress. So Anne, I'm gonna address yours and then keep moving on, so we get through the questions. So I would challenge you on whether they're saying, like literally saying, I need help mentally and emotionally. Like, we need real people speak. They're probably saying like, I feel like I'm going to lose it right now, and I just need some help on how to like calm my body down or like slow my mind down or shut my mind off or whatever it is. They're probably not saying mentally and emotionally. And that's why I'm talking about, like, that's where we want it to really be like their words that they're using. So when we turn this into a pitch, we can use those words in our pitch, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. It does. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, question number 3. What problem does your offer solve? And this is a little bit of a nuanced one here, and I'm going to give you a little context. So what most business owners do is they say, like, I help an avatar do a certain thing. The problem with that is, yes, you're saying what you like, who you help and what you do for them, but you're not really addressing the problem that your person is actively looking for a solution to, that brick wall that they're currently facing. You're kind of like sort of addressing it, but not really. And so what we need to do is we need to go from something like, hey, they're stressed out and not making enough money to, or I'm sorry, like I jumped ahead of myself. An example, they're stressed out and not making enough money. That is a problem, but it's more of a situation that they're experiencing. And so we need to transform that situation into problems. So what are the smaller problems that are causing that situation they're experiencing? And I know that's nuanced. So to give you a little bit of an example, for myself as an example, I could say like, my people, like the problem it solves if I were coming in with the situation would be like, they're just not making enough money. They're not getting enough consistent clients. And like every one of them is like a slog. That's a total situation. And then I could break that down into, well, why is that? Why are they not getting enough clients? Why are they not making enough sales? Well, their pitch is off and they don't really know how to talk about it. Their content isn't getting their audience to talk back to generate conversations. Their email leads aren't converting to clients. So see how those are all specific problems that those people would be having? So we want to get to the specific problems, like that brick wall that they've run into and they're actively looking for a solution to, not the situation. The situation we're going to use in the pitch, so it's good to know what that situation is, but we want to be able to call out those specific problems so that when we know what their brick wall problem is, we can say, hey, are you this person, which we addressed in question number 1, experiencing this specific thing? And we can marry those two. Okay? So just a couple minutes on that question. What problem does your offer solve? Yeah, Barbara, I saw your comment. That is true for most of us, I would think. That's been my experience at least. And this should help with that. And as you're thinking through the people you do work with, use them in your mind's eye to cultivate these answers. Think of what they've told you. Think of what you've had to help them with, the problems they've had, and that kind of stuff. Okay? And if anyone wants to share this last one, I'll take one of these and then cover the last one. And then that should take us right up to then.
Share. Dana.
Okay, go ahead. Hey, Dana.
Hi. Helping women open up to their deeper gifts, helping them feel more confident in who they are, helping them heal.
So so those are all things that you're helping them with. So you need to find out, what is the problem though? Like, okay, give me your first one that you said.
Oh, okay. So you like the overall problem that I help them solve.
Correct. Yeah, I don't want to know what you're
out,
helping them with. I want to know what problem that it's solving.
Yeah. Solving that they will be clear and confident to step into their higher purpose. The next level of
that's a solution. I need the problem. So give me the first one that you read real quick.
Well, I guess if there's the problem is they are not trusting themselves to step into the next phase of their life.
That could be
They're not trusting.
Yeah. So
the higher purpose. Okay.
That could be a situation a little bit. So I would say, what are the smaller problems that are causing them to not trust themselves to step into their the next version of their life?
Okay. So
what do you think those would be?
Well, for one, definitely trauma, old beliefs, patterns that they hold on about themselves.
They have unhealed trauma.
Yeah.
That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, next thing that's causing that situation. And see how then you can tap into your experience to identify the problems. And then you just want to make sure it pairs with what they're saying the problem is.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you don't want to get you don't want to develop as the coach or the expert or like somebody who's helped lots of people through this process, you already know what the problems are, but you have to marry it with what they think the problem is. Because if you don't marry those two, they're like, let's say they are unaware that like they have unresolved trauma. And then you say, well, hey, the reason is because you have unresolved trauma. If they aren't aware of that, they're going to be like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
But if
Most of them know, and most of them, when they come to me, they say, I've done everything. I've seen the therapist or what, and I know that there's something still in me that's stuck to move into that next level. Okay.
That is perfect. So you can say that. Like the problem is that I solve is most of these people have been to therapy, they've been through everything, and it's still not healed.
Okay.
And then you could even break that down further. Why isn't it not healed yet? Therapy like it was a wrong type of modality, or maybe it was like you know what I'm saying? Like you can break that down even further, and then you can use all of those problems for not only for your pitch, but for your content and everything else that you're doing to market yourself.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Very helpful.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. What are these people that we've identified in the first question actively doing to solve this problem that we identified in the last question? So what most people do here is they stay super high level and they don't get into the actual specifics of the very things people are doing. And then when you don't call out those specific things, the problem is they have no reason to connect with you and identify you and trust you that you can help them. When you're not saying the specific things that they have running in their heads, then when that happens, demand isn't created for the thing that you do or for you just in general as like somebody who could help them. So you want those specifics so that like when they hear it, they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been doing. You almost want them to be like, oh shit, like I've totally been doing that. And pardon my French, but I call that like the oh moment, where it's like you give them that like, oh man, totally been doing that. So like as an example, your funnel isn't working, so you hop on Instagram, start endlessly scrolling, hoping that you're going to find a little golden nugget somewhere that's going to unlock everything, but then you don't, and now you've just wasted, even more time, maybe an hour, maybe two, and you're no closer to fixing your funnel than when you started. And then anybody who's done that, like if you know your person and you know the things that they're doing to try and fix that problem, anybody who's done that is going to have that like, yeah, dang it, I've totally done that. Oops. And you want that because you want them to feel like you understand them and you get the stuff that they're going through so that you can meet them at that brick wall problem. Okay. So go ahead and this can be a list of many things. It doesn't have to just be one thing for the specific things they're doing.
Beautiful. We've come to our time, Jeff. The
Cool.
Perfect timing for the 4 questions. This will help everyone? Show of hands, this help? Yeah. Shall I see you back next time whenever we can rope Jeff in?
And I'm going to put my let's keep this conversation going in the group. You can tag me. You can shoot me a message, and I'll put my email in the chat for anybody who has questions or whatever. But yeah, what we're going to do on the next one is we'll take all of these answers and we'll take a few of you and we'll like work through how to turn it into a pitch. Cool. And it's a really easy process and there's a framework to follow and everything. So you can take that pitch and know how to talk about what you do. So people are like, wow, that sounds awesome.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Everyone, we got the collaborative call now. I'll put the link in the chat here to the collaborative call if you're free to jump on in a few minutes. Jeff, thanks so much. We'll be in conversation when we can do a round 2, hey, and we'll I'll communicate that with everyone and bring back as I upload this. I'll tag your name so people can reach out to you and contact you as well.
And everybody keep me posted on the things coming up because like I love hearing how it's helping people. So definitely keep me posted. Beautiful. Thanks for having me so much. Appreciate y'all.
Pleasure. Thank you all. See you soon. Take care, guys.
Take care, everybody.